AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sam Spiegelman here in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll talk some MLB draft with Kylie McDaniel next hour. Luch will be here in hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
June 1st, as the calendar flips, we look at the transfer portal opening for baseball. That officially happens today. It's open for the month of June. And then the next dates we look at, obviously, is the MLB draft, which will happen early July. And then the deadline for those players who are drafted to sign or make the determination if they're coming or coming back to school happens in August. So August 1st. So we're going to look ahead, over the next, obviously, 6 weeks or so with LSU not playing baseball to the restructuring of the roster for 2027. I mean, that it's an inevitable conversation that happens for every team once their season ends. Typically for LSU, that's well after Labor Day or Memorial Day, and instead now it's now. Well, with the portal opening, as of this very moment, it's 3 o'clock Central Time here on Monday with the portal opening. There are 4 players that have made their intention known or have formally entered the transfer portal already. One of them we learned about a week ago, and that was Mavrick Rizy. Of course, the big 6'9" sophomore right-hander is a guy that came into this season with tremendous expectation, and it just didn't work out for Mavrick Rizy. By the last month of the season, his leverage appearances were virtually nil. The numbers, ERA, innings pitched, strikeouts, were very comparable to a year ago. But it was the wild pitches, the hit by pitches that went up and ultimately cost him his opportunity in leverage situations. So Rizy is going to go elsewhere, likely looking for an opportunity to start, which would not happen at LSU with your top 5 starters from this year returning, and no doubt Jay Johnson going into the portal to look for proven elite level frontline starters. So Rizy, we knew his intention a week ago. 3 more here on Monday, as of right now, have made their intention known that they're entering the portal. First is Daniel Harden. So Harden is a story that is a guy whose story we've talked about a good bit because he's one of those super raw prospects with extreme upside, just hasn't put it together yet. So remember, Daniel Harden prepped at Catholic High. He was a 2-sport guy, played both football and baseball on the team several years ago that won the National High School Baseball Championship. And for Harden, it was complicated because he played 2 sports. He didn't focus solely on baseball, so he didn't do the showcases and all that sort of stuff because he was playing football. And as a result, his baseball recruitment was light. He went JUCO. In 2025 in JUCO, he hit 354, transfers to LSU. You obviously had a very crowded outfield with Jake Brown, Derek Curriel, and Chris Stanfield. There was no place for anybody to work in as a new starter. But on the season, Harden had just 19 at-bats and hit 105. He struck out 7 times in 19 at-bats. He just never got consistent ABs to get comfortable. And how could you? You had 3 stalwarts in the outfield. So there just wasn't that opportunity for Harden to get out there and consistently get AB. So he had a decision to make. Even though Brown, Curriel, Stanfield are all going to be gone going into next year, do you come back and try to fight for a starting job, or do you go somewhere that you're going to be able to play day one and go get 200 at-bats next year? So he's going to take that opportunity with 1 year of eligibility remaining to go somewhere where he's guaranteed ABs and playing time. Trent Caraway is the second that's announced he's going into the transfer portal. And Caraway is one that's just really disappointing, man, because he was a guy a year ago that was the regional most outstanding player in Corvallis at Oregon State. When he hit the portal, he was D1 baseball ranked him number 13 in the portal a year ago among position players. Baseball America had him number 30 in the top 100 college transfers. A Perfect Game before the season started rated him number 54 in the top 100 juniors in college baseball. D1 put out their top 100 college prospects for the 2026 draft. This was before the season. He was number 87. They had him at a top 100 prospect for this summer's draft before the season. And we know what happened. He ends up playing in 30 games, just 24 starts. To put this into perspective, Trent Caraway had only 16 at-bats in SEC games. You play 30 SEC games. He had 16 at-bats against SEC competition and 0 extra base hits. It just didn't come together for Caraway in his transition into the SEC. John Pearson took his job at third base. Pearson will be back next year as a junior, where he had 75 SEC at-bats. By contrast, Caraway had 16 SEC at-bats. Pearson had 75. With Pearson coming back, obviously Caraway's got to go somewhere that he's going to play, and it's just not going to be in Baton Rouge next season. So unfortunate that it didn't work out, and that's one of the ones that you'll scratch your head and say, you wonder why LSU season went the way it did. Well, Caraway was a guy that everyone was looking at as someone who could make a real important impact on this year's team, and it just didn't manifest. So Caraway will go elsewhere to try to finish his college career and get some mount or get an opportunity next year to play. Someone else, the fourth to transfer, is looking for mound time, and that's Jaden Noot. Jaden Noot is a redshirt junior this year, so his 5th year of eligibility will be next season. So he'll find a place to play in his final year of eligibility. And listen, when you look at Noot this year, he had just 9 1/3 innings pitched on the season. Noot made 10 appearances, 9 1/3 innings pitched. When you're on a team that finishes dead last in the SEC in staff ERA, and you only garner 9 1/3 innings pitched, and 4 SEC appearances, that basically tells the story. If you couldn't get innings on this staff, hard to imagine it happening next year. So Noot will play his 5th year elsewhere. He'll go on and see if he's able to get on the bump somewhere else. He does leave LSU, however, a 2-time national champion. I mean, Noot was on the roster for both 23 and 24, so he has 2 rings to his name, but he'll go elsewhere to finish out his college eligibility. So that's 4 players: Rizy, Harden, Caraway, Noot, already in the portal. And then remember, you've got quite a few players that are out of eligibility. Tanner Reeves, Dardar, Dothy, Fontenot, Stanfield, Simpson, Cowan, York, Benj. That's 9 out of eligibility, 4 in the portal. That's 13, and very likely more to come. That's before we even talk about the guys who are underclassmen that are going to go to the draft. Very likely Jake Brown, Derek Curriel. We'll see about Stephen Milam. So the roster makeover begins in earnest today with these players hitting the transfer portal. As that evolves and develops, we'll certainly keep you posted. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Brought to you every day, our show open by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Remember, if you're at the box, if you're at Tiger Park, Tiger Stadium, the PMAC, watching any LSU sporting event, make sure you drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. With the sports calendar over, as we look forward to football season now, plenty of great tailgates where we're toasting delicious ice cold Bud Lights. Right now, it's a great opportunity. Remember, if you're on the golf course this summer, hanging out by the pool, make sure you drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Saints, and the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here, y'all. We got a plumb ton to do. This is one of those jam-packed days where we're trying to fit it all into 3 hours. It was a giant recruiting weekend for LSU this past weekend. 6 official visits, 4 5-stars, and LSU's quarterback commit Pop Houston was out at the Elite 11 and did quite well for himself. So our buddy Sam Spiegelman from Rivals is going to join us, talk a little national recruiting picture when we come back. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at Duplessis Builders. We had our first family pool day this weekend. Actually, I had 2 family pool days on Saturday and Sunday. Me, Eric, and Drew were out in the pool. Got a little sun. Forgot the sunscreen. Stayed out too long. My shoulders are burnt to a crisp. Happens. It's a rite of passage annually. Hey, look, that can be you and your family next pool season. But you got to start today by calling our friends over at Duplessis Pools. At Duplessis Pools, they're going to build you a beautiful, custom, resort-style pool that will last. Yes, there are tons and tons and tons of pool builders that build beautiful pools. Instagrammable pools, if that's a word. But do they last? What's your customer service experience like? You see, with Duplessis Pools last year, they were voted by Pool and Spa Magazine a top 50 pool builder in America, number 24 in the country, because they're going to build you a beautiful pool that lasts and give you great customer service. DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
While LSU had a major visitor list on campus this past weekend with 4 5-stars, the Elite 11 was going on, and Pop Houston, LSU's quarterback commit, was participating. Sam Spiegelman from Rivals, good enough to hang out with us, talk a little bit about Elite 11 and what's going on nationally in the recruiting picture. Yo, man, thanks for the time. How are you? All right, we'll see if we can connect with Sam. Not sure what's going on there. Obviously, it was a monster weekend on campus for LSU with those 6 official visitors, including 4 5-stars. We have Sam with us now. Sam, how are you, dude?
I can't complain. Thanks for having me, Matt.
Man, it's always our pleasure. Hey, let's talk about, if you would, give us a little framework first about Elite 11 and what that is and what the prospects do.
Yeah, of course. It's 20 or so of the best quarterbacks in each respective recruiting class. They compete at regional events all spring and, of course, get the invite to the finals in Los Angeles. It's always a top-notch event, very historic. Obviously, you look at who's won the MVP of this. You see guys like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and, Jackson Arnold back in the day. And now you're seeing Trey Taylor this year, Nebraska commit, one of the best passers in the country. But it's a fantastic platform for them to show where they're at and their progress going into their senior season. Of course, there is no more important evaluation than their senior season to their final ranking, especially when it comes to Rivals. But this is a great, camp platform. This is all the stuff that these kids are going to do in a few years when they're being discussed as a first or second or whatever round pick they are. It's part of the journey. So many kids get to do this. It's the 20 best quarterbacks in the country competing to be in those final Elite 11 spots.
So this past weekend was a regional?
This was the finals out there in Los Angeles.
Okay, so they had the finals. So that was this weekend was the final. So break down. I was looking at that the MVP was going to be crowned at the end of June, right?
They just changed the timeline because a lot of these kids are in the middle of official visits. So they tried to sneak that in that first weekend of summer official visits.
Got it. Okay, so Pop Houston, as I'm looking in these final rankings that you'll have out there, finished third, right, behind Trey Taylor and Israel Abrams. So how did he do?
Yeah, our Charles Power, the national director of scouting and rankings for Rivals and On3, and of course several of our other national insiders were all out there, and Just as you would suspect from Pop Houston, one of the most polished quarterbacks in the country. He electrified the stage with, most importantly, his accuracy. I don't know if there is a more accurate passer in the country. This kid has always been ahead of the curve in that department, and going into his senior season at Evangel, it is probably his most promising trait. He has such a dynamic, quick trigger. The way he processes on the field, I think, is so ahead of the curve for kids of his age. First of all, when you look at his resume, the records, the passing yardage, the production, it's off the charts. It's exactly what you want to see as he prepares for his senior season, which I imagine not only will he be prolific through the air, but something you can't see in the Elite 11 settings, just how well he's moving in and out of the pocket, also creating plays with his legs, being able to have that dual threat skill set that offensive play callers like Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. are just going to eat up in a couple of months when he's on campus.
Sam Spiegelman is with us from Rivals. Of course, the Rivals Elite 11 finals, you heard Sam say, were with this weekend. Pop Houston did fairly well, as you might imagine. Obviously, you can't have a conversation about quarterbacks in 27 without talking about Elijah Haven from Dunham right here in Baton Rouge. He's the Bama commit. How did Elijah Haven do?
Like, again, I was not out in Elite 11, but I know that Elijah has been continuing to just make strides in his game. He has since the moment he took over as Dunham's starting quarterback as a freshman. First of all, he's a fantastic multi-sport athlete. He's a fantastic basketball player, and I think he had some small school opportunities on the basketball court as well. But last season, going into Elijah's junior season, which of course ended in Dunham's state championship, was his first offseason ever training with a quarterback coach. He trains over at QB country, and again, he has made significant steps, taking strides every single year of his high school tenure so far. But his junior season, of course, was the most prolific, and of course had the best results come December in the Superdome. And I think since his basketball season, his final basketball season at Dunham ended, he has been nonstop grinding. He had a fantastic showing at the regional in New Orleans a couple of months ago this spring. He had literally just wrapped up either quarter or semifinals for the Dunham basketball team, came out and lit it up in that New Orleans regional with the aforementioned Pop Houston, and getting that invite to the Elite 11 finals in Los Angeles. I think you're continuing to see the progress he's making as he starts to actually focus on playing quarterback, and the sky is absolutely the limit for someone with his development, with his work ethic, and with his skill set.
You know, Sam, there's been, I want to get to the weekend in Baton Rouge and some of the national topics in a second, but obviously there's been a lot of conversation about Haven being from Baton Rouge and going to Bama and LSU, obviously taking Pop Houston's commitment and being committed there, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. How do you think Houston fits Lane Kiffin's off? He obviously committed to the former staff, but Lane Kiffin comes in and honors the commitment. How does he fit with Lane Kiffin's staff and system as best you could tell?
I think he's going to be an excellent fit. I think his first offer going into his freshman year, when he was still over at Calvary, came from this Ole Miss staff. They have obviously taken a liking to him. Pop Houston is one of those kind of prospects. There's all different types of prospects, as every kid is on their own journey. But this was a young man who created buzz during his time at middle school. You had high school coaches around the state already who knew who Pop Houston was. He has, like I mentioned before, he is a fantastic processor, which is a trait that certainly cannot be taught. It can only be developed, and he has done his at an exceptional rate. He's continued to grow physically. I know that people will talk about his stature, but he is very well built. He moves extremely well, and he is tough as nails. He's a consummate winner, which you love that attitude. You know, kids around him love to play with him, play for him. When he transferred to Evangel, you saw a flood of kids want to go catch passes, block for him, tote the rock for him, or play on defense because you know that they're going to score 40, 50, 60 points each and every Friday night. And I think that the fact that Lane Kiffin was, I don't think that they didn't offer a single quarterback in his 2027 class. They didn't look in any other direction. You know, as I said, they offered so early in his high school tenure. They were not a top contender for most of his recruitment. You had schools like USC, Oklahoma, and of course LSU that won his commitment when Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan were the coaches there. But this is a quarterback that you inherit, and you celebrate that he's a part of your class, and you see that not only is he a fantastic kid and a great quarterback, but he's a phenomenal recruiter that's going to be in Baton Rouge the next few weekends. And I know we're going to talk about those official visits, but having Pop Houston, kids are going to want to play. He's a magnet for those blue chippers.
Let's talk about it, Sam. Sam Spiegelman's with us here for a couple more minutes at Sam Spiegs if you want to give him a follow. Of course, Rivals national recruiting expert. Okay, so 4 5-stars were on campus this weekend. 2 of them are committed to other schools. 2 are uncommitted. Sam, what feels maybe most realistic for LSU? Is there a prospect maybe feels most realistic to actually get into the class that was on campus this weekend?
Yeah, I think, a couple of prospects. Let's start, obviously, with Marquez Davis, who's an in-state cornerback that officially offered by Corey Raymond over the weekend. This is someone that Corey Raymond, he does this every cycle. He just falls in love with different cornerbacks, whether they're in Louisiana or across the country. You name it, Corey Raymond will find it. I think he's the best in the business at evaluating cornerback tape and projecting at that position. And he has fallen in love with Marquez Davis out of Opelousas Northwest. He picked up his offer. He loved his visit. I expect Marquez to eventually be a part of this class. And I think the other name that's also in that conversation is, of course, Easton Royal, the number 1 wide receiver in the country. As you mentioned, Matt, he's been committed to Texas since November. The day after he committed to Texas, LSU hired Lane Kiffin to be their next head coach. And since then, LSU has continued to chip away at the Longhorns. LSU has set an incredibly high bar for Easton Royal's official visits. He not only brought his mother, who is going to be a key piece of this final decision that he plans to make in the next few weeks. He brought friends, family, his girlfriends. I think LSU rolled out the purple and gold carpet for him, if you will. And I think they gave him plenty to mull over the next few weeks. And I think you'd be naive to not think that LSU won't be in it as he makes this final decision coming up pretty shortly.
Sam, what do you make of Ed Orgeron's role as the new special assistant to defense and recruiting? He's certainly got a lot of attention this weekend, right? How much of that, though, do you think actually translates to results?
I think we're going to see a lot of results. Matt, you and I have been doing this for a long time, and we've had a lot of Edo conversations over the past 10 or so years.
Sure.
A lot of these kids that we're talking about, Marquez Davis and Easton Royal or Jalen Brewster, they just saw a few years ago as kids Ed Orgeron leading the Tigers to a national championship. I don't think there's a better person who embodies the spirit of an LSU fan. I think Coach O, when he was the head coach of the Tigers, when he was the D-line coach, when he was the recruiting coordinator, nobody has more passion for the state or for that program than Ed Orgeron, and I think it translates. And kids, they don't need to be convinced. They know it's genuine. Easton Royal gave me multiple anecdotes about what that speech was like at the Wynn Bar before rolling out to Death Valley. And if you don't think that resonates with a kid from New Orleans who grew up watching the Tigers, then you're not paying attention. Ed Orgeron, I didn't know if he was ever going to coach in college football. The fact that he's back, he's doing a phenomenal job. I know that Lane Kiffin has been trying to find ways to get him involved. And I think this comeback is going to be a great match for all the reasons I listed. And I don't know how many Red Bulls he went through this weekend, but they got 3 more big official visit weekends coming up. And I'm sure the Costco in Baton Rouge is making plenty of money off of Edo's recruiting business.
Sam, before you go, well done. Before you go, man, realistically, what would it take to get Jalen Brewster flipped?
Oh, I don't know, Matt. He's made a lot of official visits this spring and now into the summer. You could talk about the defending national champions, Indiana, where his father, Robert, is from and played at Ball State, hosted him. SMU, he obviously grew up in Cedar Hill, Texas. So SMU, an up-and-coming program right there on the hilltop that can really make noise with NIL, hosted him. Florida is going to get him on campus. LSU, which has been coming on extremely strong this entire spring, multiple visits over there in his high school. Matt, it's going to take that NIL budget to be directed at Jalen Brewster to really make noise. And we're talking about competing with these schools in Texas like Texas Tech, Texas A&M. Those schools have boosters that have the ammunition. Cody Campbell is the most famous of them all.
Sure.
And not only does Texas Tech evaluate, they know how to build relationships. So it's not like kids are just going there for money. Cedar Hill High School is where Joey McGuire won 3 state championships. So if you don't think the connections in that region are strong, it's a lot like, Ed Orgeron going into, different parts of the Bayou to try to sell them on staying home in state. So Joey McGuire has a lot of that same persona. So, I think these schools are giving Jalen plenty to think about. He's raved about each one, and that includes LSU, which before 2 months ago, I would say was not even in the picture with Jalen Brewster. So there is progress being made. If they're going to keep up with Texas Tech, with SMU, with Indiana, LSU is going to have their paychecks out with a really good sales pitch.
Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst from Rivals. Get him at Sam Spiegs if you want to give him a follow. We always appreciate the time and the insight, man. Thank you.
Likewise, Matt. Take care.
Yep, all the best. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Evermore, EVAMOR, evermore.com. Always got mine right here on the table. As a matter of fact, was at the grocery store yesterday. Grabbed my 4-pack of the 64-ounce bottles. That's my choice. I actually also got a 12-pack of the 20-ounce bottles to keep in the fridge, outside in the outdoor kitchen at the house. So always got it nearby. If it's at the office, if it's at the house, whatever it may be. You want to stop drinking tap water. You want to drink natural artesian water, spring water, straight from the source. The source matters. You want Evermore. And it's a great Louisiana product with national distribution. So all over the country, you'll walk in outlets and you'll find Evermore. EVAMOR, evermore.com, evermore.com. Try it today. Do a side-by-side taste test of whatever junk you're drinking right now, and you'll taste the difference and know you're drinking a healthier option. EVAMOR, evermore.com, evermore.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks to Sam for hanging out with us here. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. I'm not going to quick break, come back. We'll go around the SEC. We do have an update today from the college football playoff. They've announced not only kickoff times for this year's college football playoff games, but also TV networks. And we are seeing an expansion of the college football playoff on TNT. So we're going to tell you about that when we come back as well. We've got a ton to do. Kylie McDaniel's here in 45 minutes. We're going to talk MLB draft as we're into the portal cycle now. And obviously, as we're looking ahead to next year's draft or next year's roster for LSU baseball, a big part of that is going to be how they're hit in the draft, not only from some of the guys currently on the roster, but man, a blue chip crop of high schoolers coming in. How many are draft risks? We'll talk about that with Kylie McDaniel again about 45 minutes from right now. Stick around with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Man, if sometimes when the alarm clock goes off, you roll over, you just hit the snooze button because you can't get out of bed. And sometimes, man, you're on your third, fourth cup of coffee just to get to 2 o'clock, and 2 o'clock hits and you're ready for a nap. And when you finally make it home, you're not at all motivated to get to the gym. If you do find your way to the gym, you just don't have good workouts anymore. You don't feel strong. You don't build muscle. You don't burn fat, all that stuff. All of that is a natural part of aging that happens to literally every single human being. Our bodies, all of us, produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel as we age. It happens at a different rate in everybody. And there are different accelerators. But a simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. It's safe, it's affordable, it gets you feeling like your younger self again and performing like your younger self again. And Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness is the best. Lowest prices, never any contracts. YourGoodwood.com.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
College football playoff has announced its kick times for this coming season and some TNT expansion, which will continue. So the college football playoff will be televised on ESPN and Turner, and since the inception in 2015, January of 2015, the ESPN has been the home of the college football playoff, but now it's a new expanded package, which includes five games sub-licensed to TNT Sports. So here you go. This is how it's going to look with the games on ESPN and Turner. The first round games So Friday, December the 18th, I'll pull this up, Paul, if you want to show it on screen. So Friday, December the 18th will be a on-site, a campus game on ESPN. Then Saturday, you'll have 3 games, December 19th, 3 games on campus. One that'll be simulcast on ABC and ESPN. And then the other 2 will be on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. So it'll be simulcast on all 3 of those 3 games. Then you'll have the following week, Wednesday, you'll have the Fiesta Bowl on TNT. Then Friday, January 1st, New Year's Day, you'll have 3 other quarterfinal matchups, which are TBD at this point. And 2 of those will be on TNT. The other will be on ABC, ESPN. And then you'll get into the semifinals. The Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl are the semis. The Orange Bowl will be on TNT, True TV, and Max. The Sugar Bowl will be ABC, ESPN. And then the national championship game from Vegas will be on ABC and ESPN. So again, you'll have 5 games this year on that TNT package. So understand when I say TNT, it's TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. And so the TBD quarterfinals, we know the games. We just don't know what game is going to be in what time slot yet. That largely is going to be dependent on which teams make it. So that's Peach, Cotton, and Rose. So Peach, Cotton, and Rose will be on New Year's Day. So Fiesta Bowl will be on December the 30th, and Peach, Cotton, Rose will be on New Year's Day. Very likely with Peach being the early kickoff, Rose being the 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central kickoff, then the night game being the Cotton Bowl. Very likely that's how it would go, although Peach and Cotton could flip. Really depends on what teams are there. So in any event, that's how it lays out. And hopefully, LSU is participating for the first time since 2019. All right, it's after further review. We'll go around the SEC in just a quick sec. Brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Firstsouthfarmcredit.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. So you can log on to firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Whether you're buying land or even if you need to finance your farm equipment. You want to buy a big old John Deere tractor, a combine, you want to finance the farm equipment, they can help you with that as well at First South Farm Credit. So log on to firstsouthfarmcredit.com. They have the ultimate recreational land buying guide. It is a free resource. You hit, it says right there, it says download your free guide right there on the homepage. Download it. If you've never bought land, you're thinking of buying land, that's where you need to start. The ultimate recreational land buying guide. It's totally free from our friends at First South Farm Credit. They've been doing it for more than 100 years. More than 100 years. Our friends at First South Farm Credit have been helping Louisianians buy land. So if you're thinking of buying land, call the land experts at First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia got its 5th commitment in a 2-day span when linebacker Joakim Gouda, like the cheese, committed. 6'2", 230, the number 153 prospect in the country. Georgia beat Texas, Auburn, Florida, and Notre Dame for the commitment.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
4-star linebacker Jeremiah Culpepper says he'll be a Rebel. He's also out of Georgia. Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Virginia Tech had also offered. Culpepper's the number 189 overall prospect in the Rivals industry ranking. 6'1", 205. He's the 18th best linebacker in the country.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
2027 wide receiver Davion Crumite has committed to Vanderbilt. He's a 3-star. Picked Vandy on Saturday. He's out of Tallahassee, Florida. He's number 529 overall, the 73rd best receiver in the country.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Break up the Hogs. They got a 5-star punter. Holla. Dude's name is Declan Ham. He's a 5-star out of Texas, 6'2", 200-pound. All the industry rankings. Sorry, Paulie. Just cracked him right in the head with that piece of paper. I mean, I just totally, just on a line.
It was direct hit,
right in
man.
His face. I know, I saw it.
No arc on that one at all.
No, I mean, I just held on to it. That was a spike. I mean, that's good enough for LSU baseball this year.
There you go.
Spike it. That was a 56-footer is what that was, right at Paul's dome. Sorry, Paulie. The Rivals industry ranking doesn't rank specialists. So Cole's Kicking ranks him as a 5-star. So Anyway, Arkansas got a 5-star punter.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Righty Brandon Stone is entering the transfer portal, the 14th player from the Gamecocks baseball team, the 10th on Monday alone with the first day of the portal opening. He was 5-5 this year with a 5.11 ERA.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And Braden Krenzel has also entered the transfer portal. A down year statistically for the sophomore. He was 2-3 with a 9.35 ERA across 20 appearances. Fourth player to enter the portal for the Vols, joining Ariel Antigua, Ethan Moore, and Chris Newstrom. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We are brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Get on by, see our friends over at Rouse's for, I don't know, whatever it is you might be looking for. Because if you're going to make groceries, Rouse's can help you do that. They can help you do it affordably and efficiently. Remember, you can always pull up the app for Rouse's, pick out your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. You pull up into one of the designated spots, boom, they'll bring it right out to your car for you. If you spend $35, it's a free service. It couldn't be any easier. Awesome. Always encourage you to go check out the local ad. I was over at my folks' house this weekend, and they had a big meat sale. And my mom was she bought like this giant platter of pork chops for $10. It was like the meat sale they were having. She's like, I went by Rouse's. They were having a meat sale. Got all these pork chops for $10. She was wrapping them up, putting them in the freezer. Because why wouldn't you? It's a meat sale. Go take advantage of it, wrap it up, put it in the freezer. Anyway, Rouse's, they always got great stuff going on right now. Their dairy deals are here. I'm literally looking at this on Facebook right now. It's Dairy Month, apparently. So go save on all these amazing dairy items. How about that? Sargento cheese. 9 to 12-ounce string cheese or cheese sticks, 2 for $9. That's awesome. Lou Gentine. I met him once. He's the guy who owns Sargento. Fun fact. Write that down, Muse, for your what we learned today.
That big cheese segment here. I mean, Gouda committed to Georgia.
Yep.
You met Sargento.
Wait, Lou Gentine.
Lou
Gentine.
But I mean,
Lou.
big segment for cheese on Monday's AFR.
Go get some cheese.
Rouse's.
At Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's. This feels like home. Okay. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back, knock out. We'll wrap up hour number 1. How about Odell? Back in the game. Some reaction to Odell Beckham back to the Giants. I don't think that's going to go so hot, but I got some thoughts. And in about 16 minutes after the top of the hour, I do want to talk a little bit about the monster weekend that Ed Ogeron had in his first recruiting weekend back at LSU. So we'll get into that here in about 16 minutes from right now. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
Y'all, summer's here. I could not be more fired up. Saturday, the family Scone had our first swim day. Pool was about 85 degrees. Still a little chilly for me. I like it to feel like bath water. But still, you get in there, give it about 20, 30 seconds, and then you're good. You know what I mean? But summer's here. And the oppressive heat ain't going away until like October or maybe November or maybe December. Make sure your AC is ready to roll. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. Big yellow vans and trucks. They're all over town. Give them a buzz at 752-0001, 752-0001. Get out your phone and make this call right now. I promise you this much. Even if you just want to test me on this, call them. I promise you will talk to a human being that will answer the phone. 752-0001. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Mention the Moscona special. They'll knock $30 off any system repair. River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
Manning on a play fake. Rolls right, throws a deep ball down the right sideline. It's a jump ball. Odell Beckham Jr. made the catch with one hand for the touchdown. Wow, what a catch by the rookie.
Ridiculous.
Just throw it up to Odell Beckham Jr.
One of the most famous plays, quite literally, in NFL history. Sunday Night Football, Giants, Cowboys, Odell Beckham, the one-handed catch. Hard to believe that's been more than a decade since that happened. But Odell is headed home. If you didn't hear, the Giants have signed Odell Beckham Jr. they had a rash of injuries. This isn't a Giants show. Obviously, I'm not breaking down the New York Football Giants, but Gunnar Olszewski tore his ACL during OTAs. He's a receiver and kick returner. We know Malik Neighbors is coming off a torn ACL. Darius Slayton has a core muscle injury. He's been sidelined as he continues to rehab. So the Giants have been down receivers, so they brought in several receivers to work out, and they ended up signing Odell Beckham. They had brought in, they also signing Braxton Berrios to a 1-year deal. So Giants are in need of receiver help, so they add Odell Beckham, the former first-round pick, as we well know, was drafted 12th overall back in 2014. And OBJ was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. He had set records for receptions and receiving yards at the onset of his career, and obviously was playing in the largest media market in the world. And then antics like proposing to a kicking net and injuries ultimately slowed his Hall of Fame trajectory. And I think it's, of course, safe to say now that Odell Beckham is not destined to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer, but this is a guy that made the Pro Bowl each of his first 3 years in the NFL, and then in 2017 played just 4 games due to injury. Saw his statistics in 2018 dip a bit. At that point, was traded to Cleveland in 2019, and then we know what happened from there. A couple of years in Cleveland, then went to the Rams, ended up being injured in the Super Bowl, did not play in 2022 as he was recovering from that knee injury. Played in 2023 in Baltimore, 2024 for 9 games in Miami, and then it was a very unproductive year that season in Miami. Played in just 9 games for the Dolphins, had 9 catches for 55 yards on the entire season in Miami. So now Beckham, after sitting out all of last year in 2025, tries to make a return to the NFL. Just quite candidly, I'm not even sure Odell Beckham is going to make the team, but I certainly pull for him as a former LSU Tiger and hope he has a better ending to his career. And this is an interesting spot, not only because he was drafted by the Giants, but, of course, John Harbaugh, who's the new coach of the Giants, is the one who signed him in Baltimore in 2023. So there's a familiarity with this head coach and the player, and obviously with the organization. So there's a lot of synergies there that make sense. It's also fair to say the guy who Beckham was as a legit number 1 game-breaking dominant wide receiver when he was with the Giants after being drafted 12th overall, he's nowhere near that now. At best, he's a number 3, and that's unlikely as well. Young quarterback in Jackson Dart, but you have a veteran player in Odell coming into that room. I would say it would be remarkable just if Odell made the team after sitting out all of last year, playing just 9 games in 2024. The last time he had a productive season was in Baltimore in 2023 under Harbaugh when he played in 14 games. And he had 35 catches for 565 yards. That would be a great season for Odell if he could stay healthy and get out there and play. But first, got to make the team, so we'll see if he can. But nice to see Odell getting another opportunity in the NFL after missing all of last season. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. I just want to take a quick second here before we hit the top of the hour. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about that story with Steven Garcia, the former South Carolina quarterback who was 38 years old, diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And I sat here and I told you, go to the doctor. And I just want to tell you, I'm going to be very transparent. Like, I went to the doctor today. I'm a member of the Lake Men's Health Group. We do endorse Our Lady of the Lake here, but this isn't necessarily part of an endorsement. It's just me being transparent with you. And I think it's so important. I go once a year. I get my annual physical, and they do everything. They do my blood labs, look at everything you could possibly look at. They do an ultrasound on all of my organs, do an echo to look at my heart. One thing we've been looking at is my thyroid. I have a weird spot on my thyroid that is growing. They want me to go get it looked at. It might have to be biopsied. But it's one of those things where we've been following it now for 3 years. So it's one of those things we're very aware of. And if there's anything there, boom, let's take it out. And it's no big deal. So I just stress that to say, men, women, just like go to the doctor. If you're looking for a doctor, my doctor's Dr. Curtis Chastain, the Lake Men's Health Group. He's awesome. Incredible energy, bedside manner. He's a great physician. Tyler Boudreau and Oscar Schoenfeld, part of that practice. Yes, they're with the Lake, but if you want to go to them, please do. They're amazing. If not, find a doctor and go to the doctor. We need you here, man. Your family needs you here. Your kids need you here. Your loved ones, coworkers, whomever. We need you here. So please go to the doctor. There's my PSA. All right. It's after further review. Let's knock out a quick break, y'all. We're going to come back, get you caught up on national headlines from SportsCenter. When we come back, it was a massive recruiting weekend for LSU. We just talked a little bit about Sam Spiegelman earlier this hour. But I want to talk specifically about what Ed Ogeron did this weekend. That's next.
After further review.
Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters and shades, too. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Brandon Holly and his team are awesome. I tell you all the time, when we look at Relief Windows, they're never going to be the cheapest, but they're always going to be the best. So, sure. You want to go call around and get quotes, feel free. Just understand, I'm being transparent with you. Just understand that if you're calling around to get quotes to see who's going to give you the best price, that's not going to be Relief Windows. You will find someone who will sell you windows cheaper than Relief Windows. But if you want a beautiful product that's installed right the first time, where you will get exceptional service during and after the sale, that comes with a true lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. You want the best. You want Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. ReliefWindows.com.